7 years is a long time. It's also quite short when you actually look at the grand scope of everything. But ignoring that, it's been 7 years since I started this channel, and it's been 2 days from now is when I think I had posted my first video. I don't know the exact date. I don't bother remembering that, but YouTube tells me that the 17th of July is the birthday of the channel, which is not very impressive, but it's cool. Seven used to be my favorite number, so it's nice. But I think it's a cool thing to look back on how I've changed as uh, a person in a way, but mostly how I've changed my gaming habits. If you don't know, I was just out of high school when I started this channel, and I did it mostly as a way to kind of distract myself from the 8 classes I had in a semester of college and just the ridiculous schedule I had in general, not to mention everything else going on. But I, I felt that I've grown up a lot. I've also learned to dial it back into a more childish demeanor sometimes, which I feel is something I couldn't appreciate when I was younger. Just being able to dial it back and just be able to giggle, be able to find something adorable, was very much, no, I don't want, I want to act tough or act serious, I guess. It's kind of a weird thing to really describe because it's not what I was trying to go for, but it was just how I wanted to perceive myself. I feel a lot better now than I did back then, uh, though I probably have more stressful things going on now than then. It's just the way things are. But as someone who games a lot, uh, I've changed a lot in how I perceive how I play games and how I spend my time gaming, which is more important than any personal stuff. This is a gaming channel first and foremost, and it's been a struggle because I've evolved as a gamer playing more genres, but I've also uh, kind of not devolved, but I've kind of taken a step back in how I kind of approach gaming. Because if we go 7 years ago, I was playing every new game that was out for the most part, about 80%. AAA, I got it. Um, and then slowly it faded over time into lower and lower numbers, and eventually I went into now my style of picking exactly what I want and being willing to wait. And it's a great stance to kind of have nowadays, especially since games in general take like 2 years after they've launched to finish. Early access is the thing, late patches, look at the most recent whatever version of a game you're talking about. It's never finished, it never truly is. And so it's great to have that I'll wait and see approach. Personally, I think it's great. Now, that's also just on that side of being a smarter consumer, much more of a consumer that's willing to put my wallet to what I appreciate, which I think we need a lot more of, if we're being honest, uh, in this community in general. I think buying stuff at release is really stupid unless you really, really want that game. Uh, but that's just my stance in general. Also, I've become a big racing fan. Not racing in real life, but a racing genre fan. Came out of nowhere. I used to hate it as a kid. My only good memories of racing was like a Gran Turismo I played with my dad and um, Burnout 3, which was my favorite racing game for the longest time. But I've evolved. This is specifically in the past 2 years, but I've evolved with a lot of genres. I've started to really appreciate action RPGs a lot more. I started to turn down a lot of turn-based RPGs that I would have, played the shit out of back in the day, but starting to understand that I've I've gotten what I wanted out of the genre. Of course, Souls has fully explored itself at this point, uh, and yeah, it's been since 2017, which doesn't feel that long ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. Especially in gaming. Gaming is completely different. It's not. so different in a way, but it's also completely different in how I view it. Uh, it's very it's very weird because if you were to go from say 2003 to 2010, which I was alive for, um, you could it's wild to even look back on like the HD consoles into what the PS2, the GameCube, and the original Xbox were doing. It really was a wild thing to look back on during that time. Whereas 2017 to 2010, it felt very much the same in a way, and then same in regards to 2017 to 2024, which is where we find ourselves now. It feels very similar, but I think what makes it so radically different for me is just viewpoint. It's amazing because I look at the technology difference that makes 2003 so different from 2010, but no change in technology, just some people getting better at their jobs sometimes. And 2010 feels so similar to 2017 in gaming, but now I feel like it's changed completely, and that's all viewpoint. And I feel like my viewpoint has changed drastically. But uh, yeah, this is mostly just a video to kind of excuse myself to not make another video today. Even though I don't usually put in what I call a lot of effort, I still record and then I have to render it down. I don't edit my stuff properly because I feel that you could fake yourself pretty easily, which is not something saying like, oh, if I could edit, I would be faking it. No, I can edit. It's just much more of I like to be honest and open and have the weird moments pop up because they're weird, not because I manufactured them. Um, and that's much more my style of stuff, which is something that I didn't really understand back in the day. I did it because I was lazy, didn't know how to edit. Now I do. I just choose to be much more naturally like what I want to be. Um, and I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Of course, I'm gonna evolve and improve on YouTube, um, especially since I am actually gung ho and feeling great about it. It's one of those things where I started the channel, felt pretty good about it at first. It was a nice distraction, and that kind of dropped it. Like, I dropped it pretty much after a year. Everything after a year was kind of just like, let me just throw this out. I don't care. Like, I really did not care. It was just a distraction that I made excuses for. It was to have something where I could drop something else and be like, hey, I have this thing going on. Sorry, can't do it. It was that. It was an excuse. Whereas now I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty. I feel in my spot. I'm trying to find how I want to do content in gaming because there's 1,000 different ways to do it. But I'm happy to be where I'm at because I'm much more of a talkative person than a lot of people. Not that saying that I talk more than a lot of people. It's just much more. I'm willing to sit there and talk in empty space for so long, and a lot of people kind of don't. They like to move from subject to subject, and I like to do that because I'm actually like moving genre to genre. But they like to be like, okay, this is gonna be 2 minutes of this video, and I'm just like, maybe this is gonna be the whole video. I don't know. So I think now that I've accepted that that's gonna be me, is you'll probably see some videos pop up of doing that. And I'm also probably gonna start recording a lot more of gameplay in general because I play a ridiculous amount that's not recorded or streamed. And I'm going to use them in videos randomly. It could be any game. I don't really care. But it's going to be in the background of something at this point. I, I'm going to double dip a little bit when it comes to that. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good. This is going to be, I think, like the 65th upload or this 67th upload. I don't know, something in a row where I have kept it, not missed a day. I've gotten close a few times. Thank you, YouTube. But I don't know. I'm feeling really good about it. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. This is going to be in the background, or this is going to be on top of something for gameplay. No idea what it is. It might be, actually, I have no clue what it would be. But I'm gonna leave it off. That's it for now. Hopefully, I'll see you guys for another year.